Good morning friends, you are most welcome to Think Eyes channel. Today we are going to discuss practicing anthropology by MAAN IGNOU and our topic is disaster management. Let us begin the topic. Indigenous knowledge. Throughout this unit we have been talking about the anthropological approach of looking at a problem through the people's point of view. It is also said that indigenous knowledge is underutilized in the development process. This approach is reflected best when an anthropologist tries to understand the local knowledge of the people regarding resilience or coping from a disaster situation. Understanding the indigenous knowledge regarding disaster preparedness and coping is based on the fact that people develop some knowledge in order to adapt to their environment, which is based on their past experience with similar situations. It is a fact that when tsunami hit the Indian subcontinent, many tribes living in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands saved themselves from devastation. This was made possible because of their resilience on indigenous knowledge of natural warning signals in the form of movement and activity of birds, animals, and aquatic life. Over a long period of time, they must have observed such signals which became incorporated in their collective consciousness. This type of knowledge gets transmitted from generation to generation in the form of oral tradition. This type of knowledge is not documented by the community. Such knowledge has shown its importance time and again during an emergency. It provides basis for problem solving strategies. Understanding indigenous knowledge increases responsiveness to the clients. This knowledge provides a productive context for activities designed to help people develop and handle crises. Now it has been fully realized that the indigenous knowledge system can become an important tool in disaster management. It is of such an importance that National Policy on Disaster Management, approved by the Union Cabinet on October 22, 2009, has devoted a separate section on knowledge management for better disaster mitigation. And in this section, it also talks about the importance of indigenous knowledge, which is handed down right from ancient times by way of tried and tested practices in facing disasters in different parts of India. However, much needs to be done in the form of actual documentation and dissemination of this kind of knowledge. The author's experience of working in a village community inundated by floods revealed that people develop their own knowledge of mitigating and managing with such situations. This kind of indigenous knowledge can largely be divided into technological, economic, and environmental. The technological dimension deals with the local understanding and know-how of building flood-proof makeshift hut that can be carried on a bullock cart in case floods inundate the entire area. The economic dimension suggests that people are not dependent upon a single source of income and are engaged in multiple economic activities so that they can fall back on the alternatives in case floods destroy their fields. The environmental dimension is the most interesting, which comprises their knowledge of identifying environmental signals of an approaching flood. Policy and advocacy. The anthropological understanding of the field situation in disasters is of immense importance for policy formulation and advocacy of rights and equal distribution of relief after disasters. From the first hand field account, it can be stated that there are two issues that are related with policy implications and advocacy. A. Widespread dissatisfaction with the relief provided, and B. Unequal distribution of relief or the politics of relief distribution. This is a widely held view among the disaster victims that the relief provided is too little and too late. Also, people complain that the district administration and various stakeholders could not cater to the immediate needs of the people. To answer this question, an in-depth analysis of the people's perception is needed. It is found that a gap exists between the people's perception of an extreme event and the authorities providers' perception of the event. To illustrate this point with an example, it was found in an anthropological study conducted among the flood affected people that there was a wide gap in the definitional aspect of floods. It is a common observation and also well documented now that people's reaction to an event or phenomena is based on the definition that they provide to an event or to the event. This means that the action depends on how one defines the issue. If there are different definitions to a phenomena, then the action is bound to be different. In the above study, it was found that there was a gap between how the affected people defined floods and the relief providers' definition. Flood affected people defined it in terms of various problems that they face in a flood situation. Their definition was more problem oriented, where floods are seen as a crisis situation that requires immediate attention and help. On the other hand, the various stakeholders' relief providers' definition has been largely phenomenon oriented in nature. For them, floods are more of a natural calamity, natural hazard that occur every year. There was no sense of urgency in their definition of floods. This is reflected in their action and in turn results into people's dissatisfaction. Khatri 2011. Coming to the second issue of unequal distribution of relief, it can be stated that disaster impacts a heterogeneous population where groups differ on the basis of caste, religion, socio-economic status, etc. Studies on the Indian villages have revealed that the dominant caste in the village is one which is economically and politically sound and well connected. This means that such groups will have greater control over the resources. Again, religious minorities in an area feel that they are being left out in the whole process of relief distribution and disaster recovery. These issues have certain policy implications. Advocacy for rights of the minority groups during disaster recovery and rehabilitation needs to be incorporated into the disaster management plan. Relief providers should be more sensitive towards such issues. Thank you very much.